Education deep dive. Podcast. This is your Teddy GH. This is the place where we take a deep dive into education, quality in Ghana. At Teddy GH, we're elevating.
Hello and welcome to the Education Deep Dive Ghana podcast, the space where we confront the hard questions about education quality in Ghana. I am your host, Dr. Josephine Edusei-Poku. We have been deep in a series on confronting examination malpractices. This is a series we will return to, but today we are shifting our focus briefly to the urgent national conversation. This is the poor performance in this year's WASSCE across the core subjects. While we await the Chief Examiner's official report, let's ask one question. How did we get here? We did not simply wake up to this reality. The abysmal performance is the result of systemic failings overlooked and accumulated over time. Today, I want to address the root cause, which is the national approach governments have taken to transform education. For decades, Ghana has relied on a linear sequential approach. The strategy has been, first, let's focus on access. So let's get children into senior high schools and tertiary institutions. Then we assume everything else, like quality, relevance, will simply fall into place. This is why we have classrooms full of children waiting years for textbooks. This is why a new curriculum is designed, but the materials to teach it arrive years later. We have been building at the lintel level without laying the foundational blocks. Crucially, this has led to the chronic neglect of early years and basic education, and there is data to support this. A 2019 and 2020 World Bank and IMF analysis show government spending per student is significantly skewed towards secondary and tertiary levels. A 2020 UNICEF Ghana study reported a severe shortage of qualified teachers and infrastructure at the kindergarten level, alongside a damaging zero-year perception. Now, zero-year perception means that as a country we view kindergarten as an add-on and not as a critical foundation. Furthermore, a 2021 Ghana Education Service report confirmed that senior high school receives a larger budget share than early childhood education. The consequences are not just in reports, they are in our schools. We heard from the headmistress of Ahantaman Secondary School about a BECE graduate with an aggregate of 14 who could not write their full name. I have spoken with a University of Ghana lecturer who admits that senior high school graduates arrive unable to string a sentence together. So there is a clear, consistent pattern of neglect. I ask the question, where do we learn to read, write, and think? It's at the foundation. As President Mahama noted in this year's State of the Nation address, and I quote, "Despite various reforms, issues related to learning outcomes persist in our education system," in quotes. The reason for this is simply what I have outlined, the linear sequential approach. This linear approach is outmoded, and research shows that it will take centuries for countries still using the linear approach to catch up with the rest of the world. Education processes are interlinked and interdependent. Trying to fix them one after another is like fetching water with a basket. It will never be filled up. So what is the solution? We must abandon the linear sequential model. The transformation of education is not linear. We must address three pillars concurrently, and these are access, quality and relevance. So, for example, while expanding access, we must at the same time ensure academic quality. We must provide adequately trained teachers. We must ensure that there is student-centered teaching. We must make available learning materials and ICT. We must ensure that we use assessment for learning and not just for judgment. Now, while we are expanding access and ensuring quality, at the same time, we must embed relevance. So we need a curriculum that moves beyond traditional literacy and numeracy to one that fosters core competences like collaboration, problem solving, and critical thinking. It is only when we address all three pillars at the same time, at once, then we'll be able to truly transform the system. In a recent interview on Asasi Radio, I argued that we must trace our steps back to fix what is broken in our early years and basic education. I was therefore pleased to hear President Mahama echo this same need. The phases of education are not standalone. Each one is a building block for the next, and we must treat them as so. So, for this episode, Education Quality Ghana advocates for the government to prioritize establishing a balance between the relentless pursuit of access, an uncompromising commitment to quality, and a forward-looking focus on relevance. We must aim, we must strive to achieve all the three pillars, which are access, quality, relevance at the same time. That will be all for today. In our next episode, we will focus on how to embed quality enhancement practices in early childhood education, because education must begin on a strong foundation. Thank you for listening. I am your host, Dr. Josephine Edusei-Poku. At TED GH, we are elevating education. We are shaping tomorrow's leaders.
This is your TED GH. This is the place where we take a deep dive